So welcome to episode 6 of the Rugby Magazine Fantasy Show. In this episode we're going to take a look at how the actions of players on the field convert into points for your team. As I said back in the first episode of this series, fantasy is all about numbers and the numbers that players clock up at game time and how that converts into points for your team. Now, we've tried to be as on point and as individual as possible as we can with our points, and there's a few things that I might add in future, but generally we're reasonably settled with it. And one of the really important things that we wanted to focus on was the individual. It wasn't about whether a team won, for example. It was about the performance that an individual could give. There are so many players in the league who give great performances week in, week out, but don't necessarily get the recognition they deserve because they're not playing for a team that is winning week in, week out. So take somebody like Jamie Gibson in the Premiership or Damien Fitzpatrick at the Waratahs, and you've got players who are clocking up some great fantasy scores. Now, they would get drowned out against other players who are perhaps playing for better teams where points might be given for those teams being part of that team that wins. So we wanted to keep it as individual as possible and focus on the individual player performance and what they were able to bring. Equally, we've tried to balance out points across all positions. What we didn't want is for one position to be more valuable than any other. We want you to be able to look at that first page of the player list sorted by points and see all of the different positions represented. So how are points scored? Well, you can find all of this information on the help page on the fantasy, but I'm quickly going to run through each of the different point scoring options and give you a few hints and tips around each. So the first thing we score a player on is minutes played. Should a player play 60 minutes in a game, they will get 4 points. Should a player play less than 60 minutes, they'll get 1 point. Now bear in mind they also get 1 point for being named in the team, so you'll actually kick off your game week with 24 points. So that's 23 for each of the players in your team and then doubled up for the captain. So the first big one on the list is tries scored, which is 10 points, and then try assists are 6 points. So bear in mind, we're not the arbitrators for what constitutes a try assist. We leave that to our data providers. The next one is penalties, 2 points, and conversions, 1 point. Now bear in mind that only your designated kicker is going to earn those points. So if another player is kicking penalties or conversions, then they will not earn those points for your team. Now drop goals are 3 points, and any player can earn these. These aren't tied to your designated kicker. The first one we have where we split it out for different points for different positions are metres carried. Now everybody loves seeing a prop going on a bullocking run, and we wanted to represent that with a lot of points, and so we give 1 point for every metre run by a prop. They don't do it very often, we all love it, so they might as well clock them up. Locks, 1 point for every 2 metres, and then hookers and back row, 1 point for every 8 metres, and then backs, 10 metres. They've got all that space and they can run really quickly anyway, so 1 point for every 10 metres. Passes and offloads also has the same breakdown, so props get 1 point for every 2 passes and offloads, same as locks, 1 point for every 2 passes and offloads. Hookers and back row, 1 for every 3, and then backs, 1 for every 5. Tackles are 1 point for every tackle made. They are minus 2 points for every tackle missed. Now, should a player make 5 or more tackles and complete all of their tackles, they will get a bonus 5 points. If a player turns over the ball, they'll get 3 points. If a player intercepts the ball, they'll get 3 points. And if a player steals a line out, they will also get 3 points. And in attack, the hooker and receiver will both receive a point for line outs 1. With the ball in hand then, a clean break is 1 point and a defender beaten is 1 point. And should a player kick from hand, every 100 metres generates 1 point. If they turn the ball over, however, that's minus 1 point. If they concede a penalty, that's minus 2 points. So look out for those guys who have ill discipline. They're going to start racking up those penalties, and at minus 2 points, 3 or 4 penalties, and that is a large chunk taken out of their score. Yellow cards are minus 5 points. That's gone up from minus 3, and red cards are minus 10 points. So there we go, how you are going to earn your fantasy points. Now in truth, that's pretty valuable knowledge for fantasy, and it just goes to show that it's not always the most reputable players who come out top. If you can discern which players are going to perform in multiple areas within that point system, then you can pretty much be guaranteed a good finish come the end of the competition. That said, if you don't like the way we've scored our points, you do have the opportunity to change it, and I'll touch upon that more in an episode in future. As ever, hit that like and subscribe button, follow us on your favourite social media channel, and look out for the next episode where I'm going to be taking a look at all of the different leagues you'll be entered in once you're signed up for the game.